Hey everybody, welcome to the Big Joe Show. Today, man, we're out here in the city of Riverside. We're right here in the big barrio of Casablanca, but we're out here to talk to these people that are involved in the community. Tell us the name of your project.
Well, right here we call Casablanca Home and Delivery Service. That's the name of actual center here, and not just the center, but the nonprofit organization that we're part of.
All right, so you guys like giving back to the community and to what's going on right here, right? And so let me ask you a question before we get started. Give me your name.
Jerry Pulido.
Jerry Pulido, and you're the founder of this, or?
No, I'm just a board member here.
You're a board member,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, not just us, you're a board member.
I'm
Hey,
a
that's
board member.
man.
I'm a board
You know what I mean?
member,
Where
yes.
everybody else after work, they go out there and they kick back and they're drinking a soda, watching TV. You're out here, and
right.
you're giving back to the community, and that means a lot. And then right here, your sidekick sitting to your right.
Varrio Munguia, I'm actually a board member as well.
The board member también?
Yeah.
All right, so you guys both grew up here in Casa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Casablanca.
All right, kind of tell me your story of why you give back and what you took from this community that you felt you have to give back.
What did I take from this community? Let's start with that, so that way I know why we give back, right? So, about 16 years old, I started selling drugs. I stopped selling drugs because I got busted, and that was at age 35. So I went up almost 20 years doing my thing. And when I did get busted, then I felt like I had to give back, because it hit me realizing all the lives that I had destroyed of the fathers of the young generation that was coming behind me. I sat back and I realized, like, damn, I was feeding them, veneno. I was feeding them, poison and stuff. So I said, man, I felt guilty in a way, even though it was their choice to do it, but I made it simple for them to go ahead and achieve that. So to me, I felt bad. So I wanted to give back to their kids, because I felt guilty that I ruined their parents, and their parents were too busy chasing that drug instead of taking care of the kids. And I felt kind of responsible for that, because especially for doing this for so long, I said, you know what? That's how I felt like I had to give back, and that's why I like to get involved with the youth, because I feel like I ruined their parents' life. I ruined that family. I felt responsible for that. So that's why I want to give back. It's in my heart that I want to see them strive and do better. I don't want them to grow up like thinking it's okay to do this to another person, and not feel anything about it. I want them to know that that's not the way to go. That's why I want to give back, because there's not too many of us that will step up and educate them that way. Even though we could tell them a story, but a story is one thing, but to try to guide them, that's another thing. Like, step up and actually do it. Don't just talk about it. Get involved.
Yeah, that's true. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful thing. That's a blessing right there. And the whole reason, like when you went to go do your time and when you got out, you found God. Did you find?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I got busted, I was out on bail, and at that time I remember the way my walk started was I was sitting in a county jail. And I remember looking up, and I was going to go to court the next day. And I remember looking up and saying, you know what? Hey, God, if you get me out on bail, I'm going to go to church every Sunday until the day that I have to come back. Because I knew I was in deep trouble. I knew I was going to go do time. So I said, as long as you give me that time to go back out with my family and try to situate certain things, so when I do go away, just give me that time. And by the time you're giving me, I'll go back. I'll go to church, and try to make things better. So that was like my first step of making that promise. That of course later on you learn, like, it's not good to make promises to God. It's not good, because you're gonna be held accountable to those things. So to me it was like I did it. So that was my first thing when I was sitting there in the county when I got busted and looking up and saying, you know what, if putting conditions to God, right?
Yeah.
Putting conditions
like he
to God.
negotiates, huh?
Yeah. If you let me get bail, I'll go to church every Sunday until the day that I have to come back. That's where it started for me.
Okay. Yeah. That's a wonderful thing, because then I feel like you get filled with the Holy Spirit, and then that what convicts you of the things that you've done in the past. You know what I mean? Because we're out there and we're gangbanging or we're doing whatever we do, right? We're selling or whatever we're doing. we have no remorse. We don't feel like convicted at all because we're doing the devil's work. And
Yes.
so we feel good about it. Like, oh man, he's got to get it for somebody. Why not me? You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? But at least I'm going to give him something clean. He's not going to OD on this. It's not going to be stepped on a lot or whatever.
Yeah.
We try to make those conditions in our head with the devil.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like what you're saying, you're telling God, like, I'll go to church when we're telling the devil, like, oh, man, at least I'm doing the clean. I'm going to give him a good portion. I'm going to give him a good cloud or whatever. And, you know, and that's like justifying the bad with the devil, you know?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when you do find your salvation and God saves you, then you realize that, man, that was all lies. Because the devil's here to lie and deceit and destroy. And yeah, he's deceiving you and he's lying to you and he's destroying your life and everybody's life around you.
Yes.
You know, so it's not like directly your fault, but it's just something, the steps that you're walking, that was your walk. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
And sometimes all of our walks are different, but they're all a struggle.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
That's true, man.
So then you get out. So how many years did you do?
I did 2.5.
How many?
2.5 years.
2.5 years?
Yeah.
All right. Then you got out, and how long you been doing this?
I've been doing this for a little bit over a year.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been over a year.
So there you go, man. So you're sticking to your word and you're doing it. And like, it's a stupid question, but what feels better? Hooking up the Varrio with clavos or hooking them up with comida and things for their children and giving back in a positive way where you see these kids' lights, their eyes light up and appreciation for what you're doing, where the people come and they get food and their eyes are lit up because you're blessing them because they didn't know how they're going to get that next meal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh no, yeah, I get the thanks, you know, when they come by, you know, they're always like, you know, thank you guys. And I'm, you know, I look at it like, you know, thank you for coming, because without you guys, this can't be possible, you know, like we need people to give the food to, you know, and they're looking at it from their way like, no, thank you for, you know, taking your time to do this for us.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, you know, a blessing for both of us. It's not just a blessing for me, but also a blessing for the people. And to me, that's complete, you know, we're both being blessed. So it's a complete, and I know that, you know, doing that, that's God, you know, because God is complete.
yeah.
God is whole. You know, so to me, that's God, you know.
Yeah, that's a good thing, man. That's a blessing. Now we're gonna get to the homie over here that's shy. You know what I mean? Give us your name, host.
My name's Rodrick Munguia. I call me Payaso. Me growing up, I grew up with Jerry, so we grew up since junior high together. We're out here running around the Novato when we were younger. I was out there doing the drugs and all that stuff. My story's a little bit different. I actually come from my brother was murdered out here in the streets in Novato, and so the same with my family. I have a lot of family members that got murdered out here too. So for me, I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, but it made me realize a lot of different stuff, and I had to see things in a different way. You know, it wasn't until I actually took off with an MC. I was riding around with an MC, and we actually started doing charity work and stuff like that, helping out the community. And I actually came out here, and I was helping out the community out here on Fern for like 3 years out here. We set up a block party. We had Christmas out here for all the kids and stuff like that. Gave them back. So for me, Jerry kind of hit me up about it, and I was like, you know what more better thing to do than give back to the water where I'm from, you know? Before I was out there giving out to other people, going out to Mecca and delivering toys out there to all the farm workers out there. So this is something that's not new to me. I kind of know a little bit of how to deal with a lot of different stuff. But it was, like I said, the losing of my family members that actually made me think about a lot of it.
Yeah, you could have went totally a different way with your life because of your loss. You know what I mean? And but you decided to give back and do positivity. You know what I mean? Like pay everybody back with love, right?
Yes.
You know, and that takes a big heart, man. That takes a big spirit of somebody. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, whether you believe it's because your Christianity, your Catholicism, your Buddhism, whatever it is, like, but you're looking at everything you do is coming from your heart, out of love and out of your higher power. So I believe in God, you know, but other people don't, and they believe in their own thing. So I say, you know what, like, just keep doing the right thing, because most people believe in the devil's ways.
Yep.
And we can see that today in media and social media and television. It's crazy out there, man. We thought the 80s and 90s were bad. Like right now, it's a whole different type of bad. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah, it's bad. True. But like you guys giving back to children, giving toys, giving food, giving a community center where they can come over here and just get away from the house or get away from their body or get away from anything just to learn something else or be able to spend creative time here, that means a lot, man, because sometimes you might, like you said, there's what do you say, Project
57 in the Empire, yes.
Yeah, Project 57 is here, and he's showing the kids about videography, about, you know, instruments and stuff. So we don't know, like, we could have the next Carlos Santana come here and learn about a guitar.
Correct.
But they will never know that if they didn't have the opportunity to pick up a guitar and hit the strings,
There
or
you go.
piano or anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what you guys are doing is a lot more powerful than what the sin we used to do.
Oh, yes.
And as long as you guys understand that, you know,
Oh,
with
yeah.
every life that you're changing and every heart that you're touching, it means a lot, man. It really does.
That's right, man. Yeah. It's like his story. My brother passed away too from gang violence. He got shot in the head in the mid '90s. Like you said, the '90s were hot. You know,
Yeah.
he got shot in the head, and that actually brought it up a notch. You know, to where I was out here already gang banging, and when that happened, of course, like you said, we dedicate ourselves to a certain, you know. And
Yeah.
I remember when that happened. I looked up, and my brother was still in this car because I went to the scene where it happened, and I remember walking back away from him, where they're pulling him out of the car and put him in the van, the coroners. And I remember walking and I looking up, and I said, you know what, God? It's crazy because I mean, I didn't have that relationship with God. I knew about God because I grew up Catholic. So, you know, we were catechism and all that stuff, but, you know, it's different when you have that relationship than just, you know, reading about him. And so I remember just looking up and saying, you know what, God? I'm sorry, man. But from this day forward, I'm going to dedicate myself to hurting people because I'm hurt.
Yeah.
And I remember that. So my thing started right there, you know. Basically, I was selling my soul to the devil, you know.
Yeah.
Just by
Yeah.
telling him, like, well, sorry, God, but this is what I got to do, man, you know. Because I can't let this get away. I can't let people get away with what the hurt, you know. And the thing was that my father came into the scene, and that was very hurtful, very traumatic, you know. Of course, to the day, because that's something that don't go away. Seeing my father try to get my brother from the car, he was a driver, and try to pick him up, and then I remember the voices of him saying, "Hug me back, mijo, abrázame, mijo," you know, and just to see my dad going through that pain, just those words were very painful itself, and he couldn't get a hug back because my brother was already gone, you know. So that was a lot of hurt. Like, no, someone's gonna pay for this.
Yeah.
And so it just took me to that level. And then next, you know, like I said, later on, you know, when I'm over here with understanding, he reminded me, remember that day that you sold yourself? What? And then it came back, the vision came back. I'm like, wow, man, I didn't really realize that. I was just caught up in that sin, you know?
Yeah. Caught up in the anger.
Yes.
And, and that's like, I feel like that's what the devil does. He plays those things, and he plays us out of pocket to create like your brother's death to be 50 deaths. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
And even more and then those 50 become another 150, and then so on and so forth. You know, so it's like never ending. It's like dominoes. You know, they go, and then it's just all bad. You know, all the time. But it's sad. You know, it's real sad, and especially to see your dad go through that, or see your mom, your dad to lose a son or a daughter.
Yeah.
That's like, man, I can't even imagine. I
Right.
can't even imagine, dog. And it's a terrible thing. But you being here today, you know, are your parents still around?
My dad is. My mother just passed away a few years back from cancer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Condolences.
Thank you.
But
Thank
I know
you.
your dad sees you, and I know your mom
Oh
sees
no,
you
yeah,
from
no.
up there.
My mom was able to see me, that
Yeah.
change that I did before
Yeah.
she left, you know. And it's crazy because you know, now I felt two different types of deaths. One, when my brother passed away, brought a lot of hatred, no peace at all, of course. You know what I mean? The total opposite. But when my mother passed away, I was already, you know, I was already saved, so I understood the process of life and death. So I was more at peace when my mom went, knowing to her when she seen me that I was at peace with myself, and I wasn't, you know, out there game banging or doing all that stuff anymore. She had that peace within her. So me understanding it made it easier for me to the grieving part made it easier to understand, like, this is gotta happen. It's okay. You know, I wasn't angry at nobody. I wasn't angry at God because I already knew by knowing God, like, worse is gonna be in a better place.
Yeah.
You know, with my brothers, on the other hand, it was totally different. Like, they took them away. They're gonna pay. Over here, like, it's okay. You know, and I had just gotten out. I was out only for about maybe less than 9 months, like 6 months. I think I was out when my mom got diagnosed with cancer. 9 months later, she ended up passing away. And so I think it was just part of the plan, just to make sure that my mom was there to see me get that change, And not just that, but for me to, I could see the difference between the way that people die and accepting it.
Yeah.
You know?
And to be by her side.
Be by your side,
That's
important.
what she
Yeah.
does,
He
yeah.
gave me that time. So I remember saying, God, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to be here, for my mother.
Yeah. And
When she passed away.
That's a blessing, man.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
kind of went through the same thing. My mom got sick and she got cancer. And then so I wound up being in her hospice. I took care of her. We brought her to the house and took care of her to the day she passed, which was it was about 30 days and then she passed. But there was 17 of us in the room when she took her last breath and she went peaceful. It hurt,
Yeah.
but everything that she needed to say and everybody wanted to say to her, like all the like scars were all like fixed and people were at peace and,
Yes.
and she went in peace and,
Yeah.
and like I said, even though it hurts, but you knew God did all this for a purpose.
Yes.
Like she went with no pain and all that. So I understand what you went through.
That's
Like
right,
God
man.
getting you out to let you be
On
there by her
time.
side. Like man,
He
that's
knew I needed that. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that's a faithful God right there. I love
yes.
you, God.
Yes.
He knew that you needed it and your hipita needed
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So that's
Same
a big-
situation, man. We were in the room,
Yeah.
hospice, and it was at home at our own house, and
Yeah.
seeing her take her last breath, and it's crazy because, he had that raspy.
The gargle.
See, yeah,
They call it the death rattle.
yeah, the death rattle. Yeah, you hear that, and then next thing you know, I just seen a teardrop come out of my mom's eye, and like right there and then, it's like that was the last breath. Boom, she was
Yeah.
gone, and I just remember looking up, and she was suffering, of course, and when she was doing that rattle, I looking up to looking to the sky and say, God, I put her in your hands. Whatever happens now, it's up to you because I'm trusting you that you're gonna do the right thing. So it made me comfortable and it gave me a peace that knowing that, hey, she's in your hands now, and I know that you're in control, not the world, not nobody else, but you. And that gave me that peace, knowing that, hey, Mom, I was able to, pass you over and give her to God's hands,
Yeah. And I can only imagine like that tear was when she saw it.
That's what I imagined too,
like,
man.
Seeing it through the clouds, seeing God's face, and having that one little tear come
Yeah.
down, because
Yeah.
like I can already imagine if I seen Jesus, like I probably wind up crying too and
Yeah.
dancing and everything,
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
That's
a
right.
blessing, man. That's powerful testimony right
That's right.
there, man. See, so we grew up in the barrio. Not all our stories are tragic. You know what I mean? We
Correct.
do have stories of love and comfort and just beautiful stories. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And not only with like being there for loved ones when they pass, but also just every day being
yes.
there when they graduate, being there when they graduate, being sober. Being there. So many events that were there that it's positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everybody thinks like, oh, you're from the barrio. It's always 24/7. You're running and
Yes.
gunning it. But you know what? It could be like that in some places, but then there's also happy times. And there's happiness along with bitterness.
Oh man, happiness, yes.
Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're back to you, homie. Don't be all shy right there. I said. Now, so you grew up right here in Casa. How old were you when you left? You said.
My mom and dad moved us out when I turned 18. So
Okay.
I was still coming out here. Like I said, my brother. I turned 18 March 30th. My brother ended up getting killed April 15th. So I'm not even a month later. He actually set up my birthday for me for my last birthday. And like I said, I mean, for me, it's just he was kind of a. That's why, Rick, you're talking about my brother. We found out a lot of different stuff. Like after he got out, he was going to church and all that stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that he was actually trying to do himself. He was trying to change his way of thinking, the way his life was going, and he didn't have the actual time that he had to present it to the rest of us. Well, what he was doing, what his plan was, and he was trying to line us up just before he passed away with all that kind of stuff. And I remember, like I was telling Jerry, like my brother even told me, like, hey, everything I'm telling you for a reason, because I'm not going to be here. This is actually the night before he passed away, and he's like, tomorrow's promised to nobody, and I'm not going to be here around much longer, So I'm telling you everything I need to tell you because I need you to listen to what I'm telling you. So what we're talking about, like, people actually, like, I think they kind of get a sense of what's going on. I mean, I think he knew his time was coming, and that's the reason why it was. And when he actually died, it was on a Good Friday. It was Easter Sunday, that following Sunday. And I remember when they said that he was passing away, that the lady had said that my brother kept reaching for his pocket, and that she'd asked him, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And that when she went to go to his pocket and she pulled out a rosary out of his pocket. He was trying to get the rosary and she put it to his cheek, and the lady told my mom, your son had beautiful blue eyes. My mom's like, what are you talking about? Because she had talked to my mom afterwards, and she goes, your son had beautiful blue eyes. I remember the day like it was yesterday, because the moon was so bright, and she goes, yeah, the moonlight, when it hit his eyes were blue. And my mom's like, he didn't have blue eyes, he had brown eyes. So to me, I mean, he was at peace with himself. My brother was at peace with himself. I wasn't at the time, because like I said, I had a lot of anger and like I was saying, frustrations. I had a lot of hatred towards God for a lot of it. And it took me a long time to understand that God did things for a reason, and the way everything was set up was, because my brother always said, I never wanted you in this lifestyle with us. I never wanted you around doing the stuff that we're doing. But if it had to take him to go first, he would rather have gone first anyways, to try to change everything. So that's what we're coming back to right now, right? So I had to realize and understand a lot of different things and take it to where, it's time to help these people out and try to stir them away from going that route, because growing up in the Varrio, I mean, we had a lot of the veteranos that was different, because they were there with us out there playing, doing the stuff with us. And if you have those role models to try to tell you, hey, check this out, like if you have this going on right here and you can do this, take this route instead of doing this route. And if we can do that, like try to help out the younger raza, like there's more to it than just being out there gangbang. There really is a lot more stuff to it that we can help. Getting the community back with the heritage of what we were. Because the Mexican pride, we have a lot of pride on a lot of stuff, and that's trying to get back is the best thing for these kids, because it's a whole different era and a whole different time. Like you said, the media makes a big time difference. It's completely different from what it used to be, from where we were, and that's what our plans are. And our plans is to give and help the raza out, and stir them the right way.
Yeah, a lot of people say like, oh, but you guys want the youngsters like to know about the cultura, know about your ancestors, know about the ways that you guys used to be. You want them to be gangbangers, and it's not that. It's that we want them to learn that where they come from, to be prideful, and that. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like using the N-word, that's not our word. That's not our cultura. We shouldn't be using that word. The youngsters, they say, well, it's because the youngsters, they listen to gang rap, black rap, and this and that, and that's where they get it from. But still, you can listen. We used to listen to Motown and oldies and all that, but we never changed the way we talked or our cultura for that. It was just music that we listened to, that we grooved to, that we loved. Whether it was cruising or kicking back with the homies or kicking back with our lady. It was that, but we never changed who we were because of the music. If the music can change you, then something's weak.
Oh yes.
Something's lacking. And and like you say, we talk about the veteranos in the neighborhood. Yeah, they would school us. Yeah, not in the good stuff, but a lot of them did. They taught us about pride, respect, about carrying yourself a certain way, making sure you dressed a certain way, make sure you weren't coming out sloppy. Make sure that when you're in public, you had to represent the neighborhood, so you had to represent it the right way. And nowadays, man, I'm not saying not just our culture, but black, white, brown, yellow, all the different ones. You go out there, you see these youngsters in the store, and they're cussing. And I remember in my days, we were gangbangers and we're doing our thing, but when we went out in public, we weren't cussing in front of the older people.
Nope.
We weren't acting a fool in front of the older people. We had respect, and we always maintained that integrity,
Yes.
Nowadays they don't, man. They see you and they're like, but F this, F that. And it's like, man, don't you have any scruples, you know what I mean? And Charlie, so something's lacking out there, not just in the Varrios or with our culture, but everywhere. In general. In general, dog.
Yes.
It's
in general, it's everywhere.
So everybody needs help, man. These black neighborhoods, white neighborhoods, the Indians, the Asians, all that, and our cultura. But I know the one thing I can talk to is our cultura, about what I know about us and how we should carry ourselves and how we should be. and I know you guys know that same thing. So that's why we talk about our raza, because that's what we know about. You know what I mean? Because we try to get involved with others, and they're going to be like, "Hey, why are you over there? You don't know about us." You know?
Yes.
So So
exactly.
we're trying to do and give back to our people, and if I can guide, you know, if I see somebody out there that needs guidance, and I'll help out also any color. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But just try to do our best for everybody, and that's why giving back is colorless, and it's you know, it doesn't matter what race or what age either. You know, if you see an Otecato out there that's 40 and he needs help, like, you know what I mean? Let me give you some of what I went through, you know, in life and this and that, you know. So
that's right.
Yeah, man, but it does take a village to raise the youngsters, you know.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, and you guys are out here doing it, man. And you guys should be proud of yourselves.
Thank you.
You know, because like you were saying, you got up. Tell me a story about getting up at 5 in the morning.
Getting up at 5 in the morning?
Yeah.
Every Monday you get up at 5 in the morning to go pick up vegetables at a church. And it's an organization that gives out free vegetables. So we go out there and pick up vegetables so we can bring them back for our food drive. And then that's on, like I said, nobody wants to be getting up that early just to go and pick up vegetables and just do it for about an hour. And, you know, then it's like, man, it's on Monday. Sundays come, of course, it's like, oh man, you're hating already Monday because Sunday's around the corner. It's like, man, no, I don't want to do that. But you got to motivate yourself to do that because the blessing is right around the corner. You know, when we pass out those vegetables, the food from Feed America and all that we give out, it's to see those faces, you know, that it feels good to help somebody out, you know, and then it's like, that's our mission, you know, to help one another, you know, to comfort each other. That's our mission. So by doing that, it automatically just comes and makes you feel good, you know. It's like a therapy. Yeah. You know, it's like a therapy. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we all got those things, but we got to push forward. We got to push forward because we know that it's something. It's for the better. It's for the best.